we don't need to. And the decision as to what we're gonna do, those decisions, unfortunately, they haven't been made yet.
Correct. Well, who makes those decisions?
Well, Jason advises us on those
Okay.
decisions.
And that comes from Ameriscape as well.
Can we
discuss with
expedite
and
Ameriscape's review of that?
I'm sorry?
Can we expedite Ameriscape's review?
Okay. I can
The
certainly,
sooner Chris gets it,
Well, and there's one thing too, I just asked Mark about that. He said the storm debris and moving it of that, but to replace damaged plants and landscaping, they will not pay for it.
Right.
Oh, they
That-
won't.
That was my understanding,
Oh,
too.
okay. They
That's
won't
why-
pay for it, so there's, so
Then
we
you
need to,
don't need that
then we don't
information.
need to worry about that. Okay, so
We
now
just gotta
we
find the
just
budget.
need to budget for it.
We just need to budget for it.
Now we need
then.
to budget for it.
So-
Everything else was from the aerators to the $10,000 light pole to the 26.
Okay, so everything else, Jason, everything else we're talking about is plant replacement.
yeah, everything else has been submitted. He's got all of that, you
Yeah.
know. the
All we gotta do
majority's
is
been
find the money.
completed.
We have to
well,
find the
that's
money.
why we need to get a better estimate as to what it's gonna cost us, so we
Yeah.
can figure out where it should come from and
Yeah.
get it into the account.
And we also have the 68,000 for catch basin cleaning in there. But we engaged
No.
Extreme, that ought to be in there too. That's totally related to the storm and nothing else.
Okay. Well, how about catch basin cleaning?
That needs to be in there because this is specific to the storm and it's confined only to the neighborhoods that were
No, is
flooded.
it's not covered, or no, you don't have the info?
It's considered a maintenance activity. They do direct storm-related things.
Okay.
Because you can't quantitate, was your catch basin, what kind of shape was it in before the storm?
They were all good. We had them inspected.
That wasn't anything they even talked about.
Well, they shouldn't be talking about, we have to. We paid it because we have a problem. The flooding filled these catch basins. And that's why we clean them in specific neighborhoods. This is not a general. And it ought to be in that 68,000.
Well,
If the audit is one thing, we'll check what FEMA says.
yeah, I was just gonna say, well, you ought to get them on the table, on that table, I guess, right?
Because we have proof that they were cleaned prior to the storm.
Okay.
How much,
It's that's,
how long prior to?
This year, we just finished our 30% this year. We just did it. And they were good. We know they were good and now they're bad.
So I guess, Bob, what you need to do is you need to get that information to,
Well, I think they got it, but I'll get you
Yeah.
anything you want. But we were and we have it catch basin by catch basin. There's a report on.
$68,000.
Everyone,
Just
yep.
sort of for
Yeah.
credit, 'cause we've been paying it.
Yep, we've been
Okay.
paying it.
Okay.
And they've identified which catch basins we did and they were specific to the neighborhoods that flooded.
okay.
We'll call and check, but we have the information.
Okay.
So
Um,
then, we want to wait for Jason then to get us some
So I'll get,
estimates?
Well,
I'll
except-
get a preliminary estimate from Ameriscape
Yes.
as to what they think the overall cost would
Would
be.
be, right.
And that would exclude, that does not include anything outside of our current areas, correct?
Right.
Okay.
All right.
I want to be clear on that.
Well, I don't think so.
Okay,
Uh,
perfect.
But, you know, we still have that battle to fight as far as
Cypress Grove.
landscaping
Cypress Grove.
with on Cypress Grove with WCI. That fight still needs to be fought.
But what we're talking about is not general plant replacement in
No, this is
neighborhoods.
strictly hurricane related.
Just hurricane related, yeah, okay.
Okay, so Jason, you will bring us back an estimate.
I'm going to request it right away.
I guess the question is, I think we will need to go back to the board and get another budget line in order to cover that. You know, we probably have the funds,
I was gonna say, we have excess funds or contingency funds.
we have funds,
We do. If you look at that balance sheet, you can, there's quite a bit of money sitting there
yep.
that we
So
have.
I
But
don't think,
Do we need to have a separate, if there's no reimbursement, do we just need to increase the plant replacement budget?
Well, I'd like to see it
Broken out.
recorded somewhere.
yeah,
So
How
that
much was-
historically, we know how much we spent,
yeah.
Well, and the other.
just for
the oth-
future reference.
Even if they tell us no, they're not gonna
Yeah,
reimburse.
oh, yeah, no,
Right.
They already told us now.
yeah, whatever, just
It-
how much we ended up spending.
Because of the
Out of
hurricane.
our
And
budget.
the other reason it would be good is because when we're doing next year's budget, we
Yep.
need to know what to base plant
But
replacement
basically,
on.
yeah,
Right.
so I think a separate account, Nancy,
Okay.
makes
And,
sense.
and we do
But-
have a separate line item for hurricane so far. Should it be another separate one for replacement, or just can it go into the one that we currently have?
Uh,
For like the cleanup and where everything has gone so far?
We need to separate stuff we might get reimbursed for.
Okay, so
versus
you need a new-
So we
non-reimbursed.
need
new
we
one.
need a new account,
Okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
And probably two, because we have two plant replacement accounts now for the two different, the shared expenses.
The shared expenses
Yeah,
and
so we
the
have to have one. for
shared
each
is
of
pretty
them.
small, I guess.
Yeah,
but
it's pretty small.
Yeah, but yes, they need to be separate accounts. Okay. Diane, would you, just for a second, the next item is, get on here, was call for candidates. I think you've all seen the letter that went out. Have you received any applications? One. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Is that for P-PAC or?
That's for P-PAC,
Okay.
returning to
This
P-PAC.
one, and I'm holding it for February.
Yes, okay, sounds good. So, I would encourage all the committee members, if you can, to beat the bushes and see whether you can get, I think the more applicants, probably the better here, so we have,
Sure.
we have some choice. So if you know of people who might be good, please,
And hopefully from the Cypress Grove communities.
it would be good from the Cypress
Am I
Group.
the only one now from Cypress
Yes.
Grove?
You're the only one.
Since Jan left, you
Since
know.
Jan.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Okay.
The only people who ever quit are people we get from Cypress Grove.
Huh?
The only people that ever quit are them. Well, I mean, Chris Cassio was
She
here
was
for a while.
Cypress Grove,
She
too.
quit,
That's
yeah.
right, yeah.
Then we got Jan, and she quit.
Yeah, well, what can we say?
They must not like us.
Okay, now we get to Jason's official report, and,
Okay, well, in continuing talking about hurricane-related items, I do have one proposal that's come in for the replacement of 4 magnolia trees on the boulevard that provide a buffer to 2 homes on either side. It's actually at the Bellagio area. I had Ameriscape, they had a very difficult time finding these trees for whatever reason. I mean, I guess nurseries are just out. We tried about 10 of them. These are 65-gallon trees, which means they would start out about 13, 14 feet. The ones they'd be replacing are about double that. But the cost of these trees is $1,135 a piece. So for 4 trees, you're looking at $4,702. Again, this not being in the budget and
It's
the
pretty
hurricane
reasonable.
issue.
Hmm?
I
That's
wanted to
reasonable
bring
for
it
that
before
size
you.
tree.
yeah, it is. And I guess at that level, Chris, you could approve the expenditure, is that right? Well, and actually, we could, yeah, that's right, because we're gonna put it in a separate account. I
Yeah,
was
we're
saying
gonna
we
put it in
could
a
take it
separate
out of our
account.
plant replacement account. Any questions of Jason on that?
Now I make a motion, we approve it.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
It's approved unanimously, 5-6 to naught.
Do we want more, or it just has 4 available? Do we have a list of 10?
There was only 4 needed.
Wow.
Just for this particular
This particular
location.
location, there'll
Okay.
be other trees.
I was gonna say,
Oh,
we
yeah.
certainly lost a lot more than
This
4.
is just the beginning.
Yeah,
Okay.
right,
This was just a
exactly.
very vocal area.
Okay,
Um,
all right. We'd like to chip down the items we have here. Jason, Castle and Securitas emergency plans, you and Ryan are working on. Is there anything being worked on that?
What more I thought we provided?
We don't have anything additional. I
Okay.
gave a report about a month ago for that.
Correct.
Okay.
I do have one other item.
Yeah, oh, okay, fire away.
Which is the engineering for to look at the bridges.
Oh, yeah.
I only have the one so far. I'm still working on getting a couple more. It's taken them time to get back to me. We have one from Atlas. It looks like it's about $2,500 for them to come out and tell us what it's going to cost.
2,500 plus expenses?
Plus expenses.
That
plus
seems kind
their
of
time.
steep to me.
I'm meeting with Forge Engineering.
Yeah.
He wanted to come out and get a better idea before, to give a proposal on Monday. But I wanted to have something
Yep.
to at least give us a ballpark to see if they're gonna be, how it's gonna be.
Mhm.
I'd like to make a motion authorizing expenditures not to exceed $5,000, so we don't have to wait another month and look at this again.
Can I
whatever
ask-
one he picks.
$2,500 to just do an inspection.
I understand. That's all we want, right
Wow.
now.
Well, no, that's
I- I-
2,500 plus the hourly
Plus
fees.
Yes.
Yeah, so
But we're
Bob
only
is,
talking
Bob,
inspection.
Bob is,
In order to
Providing for
hasten the
that.
process along, let Jason select whichever company he deems fit, and we authorize up to $5,000, not to exceed, so that this can get started.
is there a second to that motion?
I'd like to,
Would-
Not hearing a second, let's
I mean,
continue
well, let's ask
discussion.
Jason a couple of questions about that. Does that make sense to you? I mean, because you're going to a couple other people, you expect them to have something significantly different than this?
I wouldn't think, I would think they would all be, pretty similar. I'm comfortable with what Bob said. Certainly if I was unable to determine it on my own, I would certainly bring it back.
Have we
before
ever had
approving
other
anything.
estimates for inspections?
I have not.
Chris, are you familiar with inspection?
Engineering inspection, this is significant.
Well, is this,
Yes and no.
They're not looking at wood, they're looking at structure.
is
For
this to
$2,500 just to inspect it, that's not to write the report, that's not to give their recommendations on how it's done. An inspection is per bridge. How many bridges are you talking about?
3 bridges and the boardwalk, right?
Yes.
That's a
Oh, the
lot to
entire
look at.
boardwalk.
And this is to tell us if we
Entire
need to
board.
replace
To
them,
tell
right?
us if it's structurally sound,
Sound.
All right,
and if
I-
it is, then we could just, put new boards in.
I'm not thinking the entire boardwalk. That could be accurate.
Yeah, all I was
that
trying to do
could
is
be
get it
accurate.
going faster, that's all.
Okay.
Okay.
I have a question for Jason. Do you know which company the golf course used when they did the bridges?
No, I do not. I know Forge has done work at the property before. I don't have specifics as to what they did.
It might not be a bad idea to find out.
That's an
Who did
excellent
those?
idea.
Just as
Yeah.
another.
Same
source.
bridges.
Yeah,
They did the same thing we did.
Just, you mean to get a cost comparison?
Or see who
Well,
had
yeah.
designed them or
Different
whatever, yeah.
contractor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I tried to locate the installer, and they're out of state and could not assist, or would not.
Well, is there anybody that doesn't think we need to have them structurally inspected?
Have they ever been inspected? I mean, they're what, 12, 13 years old?
We've only done minor repairs, no inspections.
But no
They're-
inspection?
Jason, when you say he contacted the installer, there should be specs for those boardwalks. WCI has to have the original specifications and design regs.
They can't even tell
I
us how they
haven't-
built the community, John,
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
I
They
haven't-
really can't, we don't have as-built.
The city would have it.
We don't have as-built
The city,
for homes.
yeah.
The city has to have it. Finding it at the city might be difficult, but the city has to have it.
Well,
Is it worth it?
I was
This
gonna
is
say-
going back
I
to
was
Sun
gonna
City.
say,
And what would that tell us?
What would it tell us?
Well,
Is
they
there
may
any-
need it as a comparison when they do the inspection,
Well,
but
that's their problem.
that's their problem.
That's their
Let them
problem.
find it.
But
okay?
they're just looking at it to see if it's sound.
Right.
Right,
Yeah.
not whether it meets some 15-year-old specification or something.
Okay. We have a motion.
Okay,
We have
so
a motion
you wanna
on the
repeat your
table.
motion?
Okay, I make a motion that we authorize Jason to find someone to do the inspection with a not-to-exceed $5,000 cost.
I'll second.
That's-
And he can use his judgment to pick the best one he's got.
Any further discussion on that? If not, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, it passes 6-0. Okay.
Thank you.
Let's chip down to guard coverage during the day at the main gate. Nancy, I think this was your
Yeah,
issue.
I added this on. It's my understanding that as the community has gotten significantly larger, we have significantly higher volume of traffic going through the guest gate, particularly daily. And that we're starting to have backups and that kind of thing. And what I'm curious to know is how the numbers what the numbers are today, and if we have a comparison on how they've changed, and at what point do we need to think about, at least during peak hours, having a second person and a second terminal?
Ryan, do you want to comment on that?
You're absolutely correct. The gatehouses are
You-
only getting busier.
Can you hear me better now?
Yeah, and maybe you ought to say your name. Yeah,
Ryan
introduce-
Morris, and then I'm the branch manager for Securitas and representing the security force there at Gateway, Pelican Preserve. Yeah. Thanks, Jason. What I have is some copies. It's the daily average per shift by months for the last 8 months. So when you get that, as you'll start to see, the May total for 2017 was about 984 vehicles total per day, and we've broken that out to per shift. So as you can see, the 7 to 3 shift is by far the busiest. And then, of course, as we get into season, it gets busier and busier. There's also times where we have large events, weddings, golf tournaments, that kind of thing, that also adds to these numbers as well. Right now, what we've been doing is we have the normal guard there, and we've been supplementing help from our patrol person. They spend approximately 6 to 7 hours a day in the gatehouse assisting that officer. So most of their time is already being spent in that gatehouse. We're receiving on average anywhere between 80 to 90 calls on the first shift for allowing visitors through the gate. So primarily the second individual is answering the phone while trying to also help assist getting the vehicles in through the gatehouse. I did do some numbers for Jason as far as adding an additional person. If you did 40 hours, basically what we're doing now with the patrol for the course of a month, including taxes and insurance and everything, would be about $3,200 a month.
With the patrol person helping now, mostly he's helping between the hours of 7 and 3.
Correct.
Which is probably the least concern of having a patrol,
Right, I agree.
which isn't a bad way to do that.
It's appropriate use of resources. yeah.
Correct.
Right.
Right. Is there any issues or problems with him, with that person doing it?
I mean, he can continue to do that, but there are occasions where if there's been an issue on the property, he's stuck at the gatehouse, he's able to leave, but then it's causing backups when he's not there at the gatehouse.
How often does an issue like that occur where he has to leave?
Hourly, daily?
And what
It's
kind of
it's
issues would he
daily.
leave for?
I'm sorry?
What kind of issues are we talking about that he would leave the gate for?
It could be if there's a problem at a construction gate. Sometimes there's been accidents on property that he's had to report to.
Okay.
We try to limit during the daytime what he's responding to because we really need him there at that gatehouse to assist that officer. That's really been a tremendous help. Without that, there would be lines out to tree